Imagine dedicating years, maybe even decades of blood, sweat, and tears to building a business from the ground up. You weathered the storms, you celebrated the victories, and finally decided it was time to sell, to move on to the next chapter of your life, or just maybe to enjoy retirement and the fruits of your labors. But then something unexpected happens and regret sets in. Unfortunately, a staggering 75% of business owners end up regretting their decision to sell, and often they don't realize it until it's too late. They're a few years down the road. So today we are going to deep dive into this phenomenon. We're going to talk about why so many entrepreneurs feel this way and what can be done now to make sure that you do not end up in this category. Welcome back to Amy Exits. We cover all things buying and selling businesses here on this channel. I started up 8 different businesses, sold my last one for 7 figures, and am now purchasing businesses on a regular basis. So I've been on both sides of this equation, and in this video, I'm going to tell you what in general people are going through, but I'll also share with you my experience and how I prepared myself mentally and emotionally for the sale. And I'll even tell you if I did have some regrets. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. You're gonna have to stick around to find out. Now, the 75% is a pretty big number. If you actually go into why, there's a lot of different reasons. Maybe it's loss of identity, the void that they just don't know what to do with themselves. Maybe they didn't plan their finances well. There's a lot of different reasons, and I find people don't talk about this enough. So having been through this myself on both the buyer and the seller side, let's really get some clarity today and just be honest and transparent about what's actually going on out there. For those of you that are thinking of selling or you're in the midst of negotiations, don't worry, you're not doomed to regret. There's things that you can do right now today that are gonna make sure that you are satisfied and you look back and feel like this was one of the best decisions I ever made and I don't have any regrets. That's where we wanna get to. Before I share my story, let's talk about the main reasons why people say that they regret. The number one reason why people regret their business sale is because they have a loss of identity and purpose. Think about it. We spend so much of our time introducing ourselves where people are like, hey, I'm so-and-so, who are you and what do you do? And so this sense of what we do and who we are, they get really intertwined in ways that are not necessarily always helpful. And so as you're preparing to make your exit, one of the things that you can do today, like right now today, is make your identity of who you are as an individual different from what you do. So who I am creative, I am fun, I am caring, I am personable, I'm strategic, I'm really smart, I am somebody who builds things, and I'm somebody who strengthens relationships, and I'm loyal. All of these things are part of my identity. And what I do, I buy and sell businesses. I teach other people how to buy and sell businesses. I do exit planning, right? Those are the things that I do, but it's not who I am. And when those feel intertwined, first of all, it's not great for your mental health. Secondly, it's gonna lead for a lot of regret when you step out of that role and go through that space of I don't even know who I am anymore. The second reason why people regret is because they didn't have plans for what they were gonna do post-sale. Think about this. You spend every day showing up, going to work, doing the things. When that stops, if you have not considered how you're going to spend your time, what you're going to do next, that can lead to real feelings of emptiness or directionlessness after the sale happens. I want you to have a plan. I want you to start now drafting out a post-sale lifestyle profile. Where will you be living? What will you be doing? What are the places where you're going to be giving back or contributing? What are the passions or hobbies that you have not yet pursued that you've always really wanted to? So I'll share with you mine. I am passionate about family. I love being by the water, and I am obsessed with books. I've published 7 books, and if I had more time, I could publish a book a month. So when I look at my retirement plan, my husband and I want to be able to travel to go see kids and someday grandkids. Don't have them yet. We want to be able to live by the lake. I want to go paddleboarding every day. I want to publish books, and I want to be actively involved in the community of authors. Maybe I mentor and share with some other new and upcoming entrepreneurs along the way, but I don't want to be doing that professionally. I would want that to be kind of my give back. We also want to serve missions for our church. And so we have this plan. Now, I'm 44. I probably won't retire for another 20 years. But when I do, those desires might shift. And that's okay. We are allowed to change our minds. The key is we always want to be reevaluating and looking at it and saying, is that still what I want? Is that still what I desire? Does that still feed my soul and light my spark and make me want to get to that point as quickly as possible? That will oftentimes accelerate how quickly you can raise the value of your company, and maybe you don't even need 20 more years of working before you move on to that third act. The key is you've got to have a third act. You need to know how you are going to be spending that time. All right, reason number 3. They were unprepared financially. You needed more money than you actually had. You started allowing the business to slow down as you slowed down before retirement. And then when you actually sold, you didn't sell it for very much. And so you find yourself feeling like, I worked hard all this time, and what do I have to show for it? That is one that you can't go back and redo. All you can do is look at it and say, maybe I want to be out right now, but maybe it doesn't actually make sense for me to get out right now. Maybe what I really need to do is spend a couple, like maybe 2-3 years working on growth mode. Maybe I need to acquire some other businesses and integrate them so that I can get my numbers to line up. This is a principle called the wealth gap. There's a certain amount of money that you need to have in order to retire the way that you want to. And then you look at the number you need, you look at the assets you're going to need in order to produce that, and that gap between the two tells you what you've got to sell your business for, or come up with other strategies for how to fill that. So this is where you want to be consulting with financial advisors, understanding the true financial impact of the sale, including your taxes, living expenses, and investment for future income. Another reason why people sometimes regret is because they watch the business not be as successful as it was when they were there. And this could be because the new business owners are just not doing an amazing job. It could be because your team members leave or customers leave, and you watch your legacy, this thing that you built, not doing as well without you. And there's this sense of like, you left your baby behind and now your baby is struggling and you feel like the negligent parent. So there's a couple things that go on here. Number 1, you're no longer the parent. And number 2, this is why we do exit planning, so that we are sure that by the time we leave, the business is really capable of running without us. Or we transition and we give the new owners some time where we're working with them and we're training them in order to make it so that when we do leave, the business can function without us. But the goal is always that the business can function without you. It will also make your last couple of years before you retire a lot more enjoyable, because if you're physically starting to slow down or you're feeling the need for your pace to change, but you want the numbers going up like this, you shouldn't be the one driving the growth and have it be dependent on your time, energy, and efforts. That should be coming from the team, the strategy, the systems. Now let's talk about the emotional and social impacts. We have emotional attachment. How could we not? We've put so much into this. And when I sold my business, it was really hard for me because I did have a longer transition time. It was really hard for me to watch the people that I was invested in and that I loved and that had been so loyal to me struggling in their new roles as they got used to their new owner. And watching some of the conflict that was going on and knowing that it was partially my job to help soothe that, but it was also not my responsibility. I was not responsible for everybody else's emotions. And so that process during the transition was actually a really challenging time for me. I felt like high levels of stress. I felt a lot of just concern. And so my advice towards this is that you need to be honest about your emotional attachments before you start the process of transition. I know that there's no way to really know it until you get there, but things like watching for instances where you're taking on everyone else's emotion and saying, oh, actually, that's not my job. Watching for the times where you're being the glue that keeps everybody together and saying, you know, that's not actually my job. They need to learn how to resolve this on their own. And my challenges won't be your challenges, but what are the areas of your business where you are too connected and you're too attached and your emotional sense of well-being is tied to the performance of your business? If you're happy, it's because the business is happy. If you're down, the business is probably also down. That's not a good model. And honestly, it's not making you happy, better, more successful right now anyway. So let's just start changing it today. We can change that one now. Number 6 is loss of community and your network. So many of my friends are people that I see because we connect at business events. And when that is gone, now you are needing that new network of people. So I would encourage you to build and maintain a network of people outside of the business sphere through hobbies, through industry associations, through volunteerism, through community. While you're building those relationships, don't just rely on the fact that your business will provide all of your socialization for you. Actually make time and energy for people. All right, the next reason is because of a rush sales process. Maybe you rushed into the sale without exploring all of your options, and then you look back and think, I should have done it differently. This is why we plan exit planning years in advance, and why this is this ever-evolving thing where we're asking ourselves every 90 days, do I want to stay? Do I want to grow? Do I want to exit? Because when you do that, you're keeping all the doors open, and you'll be able to find the right solution for you. I cannot tell you how important careful planning and consideration is before selling your business. If you know somebody who has sold and then regretted it later, just let us know in the comments, because I'm telling you, this is a really common occurrence, but it's not something that we have to go through. There are also 25% of business owners out there that is the best thing they ever did, and they are loving their third active life. We just need to get the plan and the strategy in place so we end up like those people. And if you want to know more about the exit planning process, watch this video queued up right here. It's going to go through the entire process from A to Z of what exit planning looks like. And you can also get a printable download that will show you the entire process so you can get yourself on track. For more great tips, make sure that you like and subscribe and come back to the channel often. All right, my friends, keep growing, keep building, and let's get you to your 8-figure exit.